And the little spiel I had about spending the weekend with my daughter shopping ties in nicely with our guest this half hour. We are talking about teenagers, more importantly, their relationship with their parents and their peers. Jane Berthiaume is the author of A Teen Guide to Smart Choices, also the founder of Twin Connection, providing natural healing alternatives in Calgary. Good afternoon, Ms. Berthiaume.
Hi, how you doing? Happy Family Day.
Happy Family Day. I know, Jane, Calgary is home, but I think you're actually talking to us from Arizona today.
I am. I left the comfort of the pool just to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time for us. I want to talk about this because especially we thought it was Family Day, and sometimes families can revolve around a hormonal teenager, and you really have to watch how you are around them. But why the idea of the Teen Guide to Smart Choices?
Well, the book actually was kind of a second thought. I have children that attend, actually teenagers that attend the alternative high school. And there was another mother and myself who were colleagues, and her background is in psychology, my background is in natural healing, and we thought, wouldn't it be great to give back to the school? And so we put together these workshops for the teens, and we combined kind of, a bit of the traditional with lots of the non-traditional, and did these workshops for the teens, and the teens came and actually critiqued our workshops, and so we really had a lot of fun with it. But
Jane, give me an idea. What would have been one of the topics at a workshop?
Raising your self-esteem would be one. Another one was smoking. Another one was drugs.
All right, and so the teens are engaged in these workshops. Take me to the one about self-esteem, especially for my listeners, whether they be teenagers or parents, the importance of self-esteem and how that really comes from within for a teenager.
Right. So with the self-esteem, it's kind of looking at all the aspects of your personality, the good and the bad, right? We tend to think we have good parts and we have bad parts, but really they're all good parts, and we talk a lot about that. We also talk about what they control in their environment and understanding what you can and can't control.
And when you give me an idea of that, I mean, are you talking about, I often say to my kids, it's your attitude, and that's the one thing you can control. You can go into a situation and either say that I'm going to have a bad attitude about what I'm facing or I'm going to have a good attitude. So that's one thing that I always try to instill in my kids.
Yep, and that's exactly it. You cannot control your environment. You can only control yourself and how you handle it. And
I'm wondering,
your attitude.
Jane, I'm wondering with these workshops, it's great that teens would come to it. Are they coming to those workshops on their own, or are they coming because their parents have signed them up for it?
Funny you should mention that, because that's the whole reason I did the book. Nobody wants to go to a workshop and admit that they are less than perfect or they're not cool, right? And parents, when your kid's 17 years old, you're not going to drag them kicking and screaming to a workshop.
Right.
They have a choice. So what we found was we actually got it as with Chinook Learning, and it's been offered the last 2 semesters, and we haven't been able to fill it. So I'm like, well, I can't just not have all this information and not do anything with it. So that's why I wrote the book.
You know what I've always found, whether it be with my daughter, I'm driving around with her and I hear something on the radio, and I always say, okay, this is a chance to bring this up. And would be the same, obviously, for a book, but you still have to get that book in the kids' hands and reading it.
Exactly. So when I wrote the book, it was totally with the kids in mind. And I actually used teenagers as they critiqued the book as I wrote it. Well, they also critiqued the workshops, and all this information is actually from the workshop. And there was actually one of the girls, her name's Sarah Martins, and she took all the photographs for the book and did all the illustrations. So it's kind of written by the teens as well as myself, which makes it a little bit different.
I think, you know what, it sounds like a great book, and I do think it's probably one that parents first have to get and then place strategically in the home so that maybe their teenager is going to start to leaf through it.
Yeah, it's actually, I recommend that the parents and teens read it together, because then it sparks the conversations and the tough conversations that need to happen.
My conversation this half hour is with Jane Berthiaume. She is the author of A Teen Guide to Smart Choices, some of the tougher topics we have to tackle, coming up after this.